PatinoDiet.com. That's right, Dr. Frank Patino at PatinoDiet.com. And that's something I wanted to talk to our next guest about when we get him on the line. In the second hour, kicking it off, we're going to be talking with Michigan MMA fighter and some are calling a prodigy, Cody Stamann. We got the phone ring, and we're going to be talking with him about his MMA career and the Patino diet and a whole bunch of other stuff. And hopefully we got... Oh, was that you, Dave, making noises?
No.
Hello?
Hi, good evening, Cody.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, it's Big Perm with Uncensored MMA Online Radio. How the hell are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Man, I'm alive. I'm loving life, brother. I'm doing real well. My Monday nights aren't boring anymore. I get to talk to kick-ass fighters like you.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I don't know if I'm a kick-ass fighter, but I appreciate the compliment.
Oh, for sure, man. From what I've seen, I'll give you that label for sure, man. But before we go further, I wanted to bring in my co-host, Cody. With me, I've got Dave the Butcher Clifford. Dave, are you there, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to the show, man. It's a pleasure to be talking to you tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I can second that notion because you come highly recommended through a lot of people that I highly respect. So I'm looking forward to learning all about Cody Stamann. And start off, why don't you tell us about where you work out the most? What's the gym that you do your training at? And let's hook that up first.
Well, I live in Metro Detroit. I live with UFC fighter Dan Crookshank and a few other guys. We actually bounce around quite a bit. I do my boxing at World's Best downtown Detroit. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu at Detroit BJJ and Kaizen BJJ. And then, we do a lot of sparring, wrestling, and wherever, whatever other kind of training we're going to do, maybe get with my kickboxing coach, Dean Crookshank. A lot of times we'll do that at Kaizen BJJ, but for the most part, we travel a lot. We're all over the place. Because in Michigan, that's kind of what you have to do. You kind of got to go here and there to get with the best guys. You're only as good as the guys in your room, and if you want to constantly improve, you got to constantly be tested.
Well, one thing they like to say down in the D is iron sharpens iron, and you do see a lot of traveling. I mean, it's almost like there's just a few gyms, and it's almost like whenever someone gets some success, all of a sudden every gym says that's their fighter. And when you get to the pro fights, you'll see 4 or 5 different leaders of teams following guys out, and there's a lot of unity. For whatever people say, there's a hell of a lot of unity, and everybody does respect each other over here, man.
Right. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We cross train with all these guys. We might see the guys in as amateurs. A lot of our amateur guys will fight against the same guys they see in the gym twice a week. Because the amateurs are kind of about just improving. And at the professional level, there's enough pro fighters out there. We don't have to fight each other. You know what I mean? A training partner is so much more valuable than a fight. You know what I mean? A training partner that can push you and make you better. That's what's gonna get you to the next level. And I'm really blessed to have some really, really talented guys around me.
Well, heck, in training with Mr. Crookshank, I mean, everybody's seen what he's done in the UFC, so absolutely, dude. Having him to work with and all the other guys, I guess that's why I was told that you were an MMA prodigy coming out of Michigan that a lot of people were looking at, man.
I like that title.
The MMA prodigy. Hell yeah, man. I know also I think it was either Facebook or Twitter, about you going to the Joe Louis Arena, and I saw a hashtag for Team Patino Diet in there, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about was the Patino Diet, because Dr. Frank Patino is a sponsor of the show, and are you following the diet yourself?
Oh yes, I've been on the Patino Diet now for about 5 months, and for those who know me know that I'm a bigger 135 pounder. I have a hard time making 135, or I have in the past. I've made it maybe 3-4 times in my life. I wrestled a little bit in college at 41, so 35 is the stretch. I walk around at 160 pounds. And, I got with Frank, we made some adjustments to my diet, some fundamental adjustments. It's more or less a lifestyle change, and wanting to be at the athletic level that I want to compete at, I need to be as lean, and at the same time, I can't afford to lose muscle mass, and I can't be weak, And the patino diet and the low glycemic diet really helps me to stay lean, but also stay strong. I'm still eating. It's not like I'm starving myself. You don't have to make a ton of sacrifices. There's just some simple things that the guys with patino have worked on me, or worked with me. And it's really, not only changed, my MMA game, but, I've changed my life. I think I'm a lot leaner. I'm not so depressed all the time because I'm not eating. That cutting weight is a horrible thing for anybody who's ever done it. They know it's really miserable. It makes having a fight, it's not fun. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, hey, we're gonna go out to eat. What, you want to go? Well, no, because I can't eat. But now I can still go out to eat.
Bantamweights, featherweights, and lightweights are the worst for it. Going to so many weigh-ins. I mean, I never take weigh-in passes for press. I only go if I'm the announcer because it's a bunch of miserable, angry individuals who are seeing their opponent for the first time in months. And it's fucked up sometimes, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a really negative atmosphere for sure. But I'm doing it the right way this time. And I owe it all to Frank Patino, Josh Burns, and the Patino diet.
That's great to hear. One of our fine sponsors here at UMOR Live, our main headline sponsor, is Patino Diet. Go check out The Age of Obesity. Go to patinodiet.com. You'll find out about this book. It's not anything weird. It's pretty cool. This is a way to change your life without committing to something that's hokey. You know what I mean? You don't have to continually buy something. You don't have to go to classes or meetings. You could just adapt.
Exactly. It's simple. It's just some simple changes in your diet, and it's a lifestyle change, I think 90% of people have some kind of problem with eating or with their weight, with something. Everybody wants that cure-all, a pill that you can take. Well, it's just not out there. It has to be.
It's not going to happen.
There has to be a diet. Exactly. There has to be a diet change. And I think, and having wrestled my whole life, I've been on a million different diets. And the Patino diet is the first diet that I can honestly say that A, I follow, and B, I don't want to shoot myself while I'm on. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm not on and off the diet. I'm always on it, and I always feel great, and I always have a lot of energy, and I'm lean. So
you're always full. Obviously, if you're feeding muscle, you're going to stay full. So, you're going to be eating good stuff. And really, it's pretty simple when you think of it. And for somebody to put a chart together and to make a machine and to get people that are serious about it and to get behind those people with sponsorships, it says a lot for Josh and Frank. And we were really happy to have them on board. And I'm sure you are, too.
I'm very blessed to have those guys in my life.
That is pretty darn cool. Now let's talk about your career up to this point. Tell us how it started for you, where your background comes. I think Eric Moon was the guy that told me all about you at one point in time, and he was really talking about how great you were on the ground. So why don't you tell us how you got started and where some of your first fights amateur took place?
Well, I grew up in the Grand Rapids, actually grew up in Sparta, Michigan, a little north of Grand Rapids, where I wrestled and boxed as a young buck. That eventually led me into MMA. As an amateur MMA fighter, I was 9. Sparta, Michigan.
Sweet. Sparta.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Sparta. Good old Spartucky, huh? But living that wrestling lifestyle, wrestling, boxing, that led me to MMA. And since then, I was 19-1 as an amateur. I'm 3-0 now as a pro. the sky's the limit. I think I've surrounded myself with good people, and I have an awesome training regimen, and I'm real dedicated to the sport. I train 2-3 times a day, every day, no matter what. And I'm looking to take it to the top.
Well, now, as far as the amateur career went, where did you do your first fights in the Grand Rapids area? I mean, what leagues did you end up fighting for, and who did you any names? Who'd you fight against?
Well, I fought all my memorable fights were for Vengeance Fight League in Grand Rapids, but I started fighting for the XDC.
Sweet.
XDC. I fought. I mean, I fought for everybody. I mean, I had a couple belts. I had a belt for Vengeance for the XDC. Amateur belt, basically trophies. Fought in the Golden Glove 2008. Won the novice division in 2008, Michigan Golden Glove.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Perm, you still with us? You got a question, homie?
Hey, absolutely, bud. I'm right here, man. I was just letting him finish.
Well, I know it's in there, so.
No, I'm here, man. I haven't been blown away yet, so I'm hanging in there by the skin of my teeth.
Cool.
It's nasty outside. But, Cody, I was looking at something on Facebook earlier today from one of the groups that you and I are both a part of. And there was some talk on there. I forgot what the topic even was. But your comment was just about guys, comparing things. And I'll leave it at that. Short dick compared to short dick. In the end, you still got a short dick no matter how you look at it.
Exactly. No, I'm talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, man. No, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, basically what I was saying is, all the guys in Michigan are big fish in a small pond. And until guys swallow that ego, get rid of that ego, and start training, instead of trying to be the best guy in this county, why not get together and actually try to put Michigan MMA on the map? That's always kind of been the goal of Darren and I, Darren, Vince Murdoch, myself, Jason Fisher, John Toth. We all kind of have like minds in that aspect. We want to see Michigan kind of combine forces and try to get a lot of talent in one room, because that's what it's going to take to put guys on the next level. And I hate posts that say, best matchups in Michigan. It's like, why are we all fighting each other? Does anyone realize how many fighters are out there? You know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to see me fight James Gray. James Gray is another local guy. I think he runs his own club up north. He is supposed to fight him as an amateur. I do enjoy talking a little shit to this guy, because he gets pretty bent out of shape about it. But, I mean, in reality, fighting him is no different than me.
Fight.
Yeah. So. I mean, I'll fight him. I don't care. I don't think he really poses too much of a threat to me, but at the same time, it's that mentality. I can't stand it. I don't want to be the best guy in Michigan. I want to be the best guy in the world, and I would like to be able to train with all these guys. I mean, if I have to beat James Gray up for him to start being my training partner, then so be it. But
that happens a lot, though.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
We see it.
Absolutely.
Not as fighters, of course. We're just commentators and radio guys, but we're involved and enjoy everything that goes on. And there does come a point where our knowledge ends and we don't get to speak on it. And that's where you're coming from. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about your crew. And there's kind of a loose affiliation amongst all the Detroit fighters, because you don't see those guys looking to fight each other. And that post was really just kind of more for us fanboys that like to throw dream matchups out there and just enjoy thinking about what might happen, because
right,
exactly. You guys are what we know. Now, I mean no disrespect when I throw up fun matchups. I mean, people know when I'm being disrespectful. I make it clear. So I
Me too.
I enjoyed what you said too, and because what you guys have done down there, you're seeing other people, like Dom O'Grady is another great example. He's starting to incorporate some really good local talent into his crew, you know, and in the way
right.
that you guys do things is very similar, even though, and he's going on a big stage too. So how much do you guys work together with guys like him or Tony Hervey or over at the Fight Club perhaps? How many gyms do you really go to on a weekly basis consistently?
Well, we work with a lot of Jason Fisher's guys, a lot of those guys from MASH. We do go to Waterford every Wednesday. We train and spar with those guys. A lot of good guys up there, tough kids. You know, I try to get with the guys at Detroit BJJ and some of the grapplers at Kaizen BJJ, you know, because they're real good at grappling.
So,
I mean,
those
are the basic gyms. Darren teaches on Thursdays at Kaizen. I go up there whenever I can. I'm not Kaizen. I'm sorry, Courageous. I get up there whenever I can. So, I mean, I see a lot of different faces, and it's good too because, you know, sparring the same guy every day. You know, I get sick of looking at Darren and then having him throw his crazy karate kicks at me all the time. You know, I'd like to throw some kicks back at somebody someday. You know.
Right. Oh,
well, I guess one of the things that I'd like to ask you, just since I got you on here, and it's a hot topic, and it's something that I enjoy hearing people's takes on. And it might come up later in the show. You fought an extensive amateur career in Michigan. You fought in the old days when they would line people up against the wall and say, all right, you and you. You know, you went through some serious stuff. Now, how important do you think it is for the regulations that everyone's talking about to get put into place, and how will that change the future for amateurs that are coming through now, just like you were starting?
Well, obviously, you know, right now it's like a free-for-all. It's like the wild west out there, you know, with the amateur promotions. You know, got 9 million different promotions in Michigan, 9 million fighters, guys who have never trained. I think that a regulation, a governing body is really going to, it's going to water out the kids who aren't serious about MMA. I think it's going to help put MMA, Michigan MMA, like on a different stage, you know, because you're not going to be able to fight for free. You know, I think it's going to take a lot of these promoters that just want to make money off kids fighting and don't really care about their safety. I think it's going to take them out of the picture. I think you're going to see a lot of promoters teaming up with other promoters, you know, in order to, you know, make money. You know, there are some good promoters out there in Michigan, and there's some real bad ones. I'm not going to name any.
Right.
But you know, I'm definitely a huge fan of the regulation because kids can get hurt, man. I got hurt. I got a really good cut in one of my fights. Had some stitches. It ended up costing me like $700 out of pocket because I think my insurance was like $750, you know, deductible, and it ended up costing me $700. You know, and basically, you know, I drove there with my own money, you know, trained with my own money, and then I fought, and it cost me $700, and I had no protection, you know. And I don't, you know, Darren and I trained some guys, and you know, I don't want to see the same things happen to them. They need to get some kind of regulation.
Well, and one of the ways that people can fix that problem that you're speaking of is by funneling money in there so kids can get training at real gyms and so that can be afforded. The way to get real sponsors is to have regulation. I've had to do this for, well, quite frankly, for Big John. I've called some big-name sponsors like the UAW and General Motors, and they're like, well, until it gets sanctioned, we don't want to put our name on it.
Right, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous advertisement. If someone dies and you advertise the show, that doesn't look good for you.
No, we lose a lot of potential fighters and good, you know, relationships that way. So, you know, I agree with you, and I'm glad to hear that. You know, you're a very intelligent, well-spoken martial artist, and it is definitely very rewarding to hear your take on this. Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you.
You know, that's cool.
Thank you.
Everybody who's talked about you has been right.
Cody, you got a little more time.
Not everybody.
I got a few fan questions lined up here for you if you got some time.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see here. The first one here comes from Fitz. He's listening in Parkersburg, West Virginia. He says, I'm a huge MMA fan and a huge old-school WWF fan. Seeing your name was Mr. Wonderful. Did you get that from the wrestler, or how'd you end up getting your nickname?
Well, I'm not sure how I got my nickname is appropriate for the radio, but I'm going to say it anyways. My first fight was at a strip club, and one of the strippers
this show's uncensored.
fell in love with me.
Say whatever, man.
Well, let's say she fell in love with me, and she kept calling me Mr. Wonderful all night, and my trainer heard it, and he was teasing me, calling me Mr. Wonderful, and then wrote Mr. Wonderful on one of my next fight card, and it stuck with me. I hate the nickname. I don't like it at all. Every time someone says it, it makes me cringe, but
right.
You know, whatever.
Was that one of James'
That's a good story.
Yeah. Good story. It's crazy to think my first fight was in a strip club.
Where was it at? Was that James Lee's show, bro?
Yeah, it was Coliseum. I was 18. I'd never been in a strip club. Didn't know who I was fighting. It was nuts.
Nice.
Sweet. I've been to those shows down there, dude. It's just fucking awesome.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Cage fights and strippers in the same place. It sounds like a really good time, but it's pretty awkward to fight. You know, girls are on the pole and fighting. It's like, lucky it was a 7-second knockout. You know, I didn't waste a lot of time.
No kidding, man. With a 7-second knockout, you didn't have time to look bad, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was so nervous. I came at this kid like a freight train. I didn't touch gloves. He didn't even have time to get out the cage. I sprinted at him and just threw a one big left hook. He dropped, and I hit him 9 more times, and the ref was pulling me off. I didn't even know what happened.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Well, listen, I got another fan question comes from listener Jordan up in Toronto. Let's see. From listening to the show and looking up some past fights, it looks like you're a solid fighter. Do you truly think you have what it takes to make it to the UFC, or are you focusing on other big shows first, like MFC, Bellator, you know, and so on?
Well, I think the ultimate goal has always been to be in the UFC, and I wouldn't train every day if I didn't think I could make it there. I've been pretty privileged to train with some really elite guys, and I think that I can compete with them, and not only that, but you know, beat them. So, yeah, absolutely. I think I can compete in the UFC.
Oh yeah, and you know, to kind of piggyback off you just saying, you know, fighting and training with the elite. The other fan question, the one I had left, comes from Abraham in South Bend, Indiana. Said earlier you mentioned something about Michigan fighting out of towners. So there's not a lot of local celebrities. He's wanting to know, are there any promoters stepping up and doing like Michigan versus Midwest type shows? And also, what would the gyms be that you would recommend as the so-called elite teams in Michigan?
Well, no, I don't think that there's any promoters doing any Michigan versus Midwest, not that I've heard of.
They won't let them.
You'd have to talk. I really wouldn't know. But gyms to train at. Well, I mean, get a hold of Darren or myself and come train with us.
Oh yeah, that's some elite right there in Michigan. I tell you what.
Right.
Well, and I just had one more pop in. This comes from Abby in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It says, if you hear Michigan MMA, most people think of Dan Severn. Nowadays, think of Darren Cruikshank. Is there a Michigan fighter that you look up to, and who's a behind-the-scenes guy who's helped you in your career?
Well, I look up to Darren just like anyone else does. You know, he's kind of been my mentor, trainer, friend for a long time. And you know, he's a good dude, and he's helped me a lot in MMA, given me a lot of contacts. Darren's a good guy, and I guess if there's a fighter I looked up to, it'd be Darren. But as far as you know, people that have helped me, I mean, there's so many people. I wish I could name them all, but I can't. This isn't something that you can do alone. You know, I'm really blessed and fortunate to have so many good people, you know, in my corner helping me out. Just to say the least, Gene Cruikshank, John Toth, Jason Fisher, you know, obviously the guys at Patino have done wonders for me in my career. Vengeance Fight Gear, Dan Waterman, he's been a huge help. He's been with me since before I was anybody. You know, he's put up with all my BS for a long time. He's a good dude. But you know, yeah, I mean, there's an endless list. I mean, if you guys don't have enough time, I could thank a million people right now.
Well, and that's a common thread with a lot of the fighters we talk to. You know, strong team, strong family. I mean, it can't be done alone. You just said it. You know, it takes a lot of people and a great team, you know, to make a champion fighter. And then that's why you see the guys, you know, when the fight's over, thanking everybody on earth, you know. And like you said, there's just not enough time to list everybody.
No, there's not. You know, an MMA team is no different than like a football team. You know, the difference is you're the only one in the cage. But, you know, there's got to be a lot of camaraderie and, you know, everybody's going to want to help everybody else. And we definitely have that where I'm at.
Well, and that boxing bell we just heard tells me that we've just got a couple minutes left with you. So I got a fun question, and then I'll send it over to Perm to close it out for your contact info for everybody to follow you. If there was tag team MMA, who would you and Darren Cruikshank like to fight? Open weight.
Okay, tag team MMA, me and Darren fighting somebody. I'm not sitting by Darren, so tag team MMA, who should we fight? Well, geez, in Michigan? Talking about other Michigan fighters or just anybody?
Anybody you want. Open, anybody you want, fellas.
Well, I mean, I want to go after some big names. I mean, if I'm going to tag team fight with Darren, I want to go after. Oh, let's go. Hey, let's go. Yeah. Hey, let's tag. We want to tag team Ronda Rousey and Misha Tate.
You know, I picked the ladies would win that fight, and I think you guys would win.
Yeah, I think they would. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna pull guard. I'm pulling guard.
Right off the rip.
Hell yeah, man! I think that's the best one yet.
Well, that's awesome, man, and thank you. Before I throw it over to Perm, I want to say thanks, man. You're truly humble and, dude, a very intelligent individual. It's great to finally speak to you. You come highly recommended by tons of good friends of mine that are from your area. It's great that the Detroit superstar was able to chill for a minute, and thank you, man. I'm going to send it over to Perm now.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, Cody. For sure. Thank you, brother. Just these last few seconds we got with you, man, I just wanted to let you shout out any thanks to any sponsors and also tell the listeners, you know, how they can follow along in your career and stay in touch.
Well, obviously, you know, I got to thank Frank Patino, Josh Burns, the Patino Diet. They've you know, they've been like big brothers to me in my fighting career. You know, Dan Waterman, Vengeance Fight Gear, him too. I mean, without these guys, my career doesn't work. The Cruikshanks, and John Toast, my jiu-jitsu coach, my family, God, thank all those guys. So you can follow me at Cody Stamann, CodyStamann, on Twitter, or Cody James Stamann on Facebook. Thanks a lot for having me, you guys. I'll tune in the show, and best of luck with your show, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Oh, yes, and Cody, for me, my co-host, Dave the Butcher, and also the network, my producer, Chris Maltsburger, we just want to say thanks to you, brother, for taking the time to join us tonight, and we look forward to hearing from you again, and I'm sure we'll see big things in the future. You guys take it easy and have a great night, man.
All right, thanks. God bless.